I always had different thoughts and ideas in my head, but by me being so young, I felt, well, maybe I shouldn't speak out or say this or that. But it's different now, whether I speak out now, and I say what I feel and what's on my mind.
Jermaine and Michael particularly, if you don't ask them for their advice, do their feelings get hurt?
No, not at all, because they're so busy with their own careers, with their own thing. And also I wanted to do it by myself. I had a lot to get off my chest, and I just wanted to do it.
Not everything Jackson has done on her own has met with approval. A brief marriage to James DeBarge was annulled after only a few months. Though she's known the young singer all her life, a less conventional liaison between the two was out of the question.
It's against my family's religion for two people to live together, and I don't feel that I made a mistake. I'm glad I experienced it. It taught me a great deal. I learned a lot from it. I'm a lot wiser. I'm more confident. And that's really pretty much my feelings that are on the album.
Hello, hello, hello. It is Monday and it's time for Pop and Politics. We are talking about the latest in hot topics, news, and entertainment. I'm KJ along with Tyrone Keys from Soldiers of Finance. How are you doing tonight, Tyrone?
Doing good. How you doing, KJ?
Great. I'm doing well. Thank you. All right. So again, we're back at it on Monday Night Live. Like, share, and subscribe to our channels. That's Pop and Politics and Soldiers of Finance. We are on YouTube and Rumble, and you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. Here on YouTube, your super chats and donations go a long way in helping us produce conservative content. Any amount is appreciated. Fam, this is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that understand there's a target on our backs because we value freedom. Yet, let's stand together with us, subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, Tyrone, let's set it off tonight.
All right.
As you guys saw, that was an old clip of Janet Jackson back in, I think that was like the 80s, maybe 90s. I think it was 80s. Yeah, 80s.
Yeah, that hairstyle said 80s.
Yeah, 80s. Yeah. But I thought it was very relevant because she's talking about, nobody she has control. That was when her Control album first came out. I'm a huge fan, Rhythm Nation, Control. And she was talking about, that was her time and she was trying to break away from her brothers and she wanted to do her own thing, make her own decisions. And that brings us to today. So you guys have probably seen, it's been all over the news. Janet Jackson was slammed as irrelevant and a leech for questioning Kamala Harris's race. She says she's not Black. So in an interview published Saturday, Janet Jackson responded to a question about Kamala Harris's potentially becoming the first Black female president, saying she's not Black. That's what I heard, that she's Indian. When the interviewer interjected saying that Harris is both, the singer wrongly claimed the vice president's father was white. She said, I was told that they discovered her father was white. The singer also said that either way the election swings, it's going to be mayhem. So then on Sunday, a gentleman by the name of Mo El-Masari, I believe, who claimed to be Jackson's manager, told multiple outlets, including Deadline, People, Washington Post, and Variety, that the singer recognized her original statements were based on misinformation and she apologizes for any confusion caused. But according to BuzzFeed, which first reported this so-called manager's comments, he is credited as producer on her upcoming documentary and has been cited as Jackson's manager in several previous stories. However, Jackson said that was not her apology. She did not apologize. And that was made by someone who is not her manager and not authorized to speak on her behalf. Tyrone, what do you make of all this?
Well, it's funny that a lot of those on the left are calling Janet Jackson irrelevant when Kamala Harris just got Dick Cheney's endorsement and crowed about it. You want to talk about irrelevancy. But look, Jackson is probably like most Americans, understands that Kamala Harris is inauthentic. All right. She's like one of those characters in Hollywood where you get the racially ambiguous character. So in one movie, he's a Hispanic. In the next movie, he's a Middle Eastern terrorist. You know, you never know. This guy can be whatever. And that is what Kamala Harris is doing. I found it funny that in the interview she had, when she was asked the question about, you know, whether or not she was black and Trump talking about it, she sidestepped it. So there must be some internal polling telling her to back off of that assertion. But yeah, I mean, Janet Jackson was incorrect about the ethnicity of her father, but it just sounds like she's like, look, I don't know. I heard he was white, but she's not black. And I maintain, from the standpoint of what an African-American is, okay, in the traditional sense, is someone who has history based in slavery in America, okay, the Civil War here in America, Jim Crow here in America. Jamaica has its own proud history. She's out that. India has a history that goes back thousands of years. There's nothing wrong with that. But don't claim something you're not.
Exactly. Well, as I mentioned, you know, Janet Jackson came under a lot of fire. And one of the groups that came after her or were talking about it was, of course, the ladies of The View. So they had a lot to say about this. I want you to take a look at this. This is clip number 5 of them today.
She made a mistake. We don't know what she said because it's been one thing and another. Look, I think Janet Jackson, like every other American, whether you're a celebrity or not, has a right to endorse, support, or not support whomever they want. So she's got every right to not like Kamala Harris if she doesn't want to.
But that's not what she said.
What she doesn't know, what she did was spread misinformation. And I think it's very irresponsible when you have a platform the way Janet Jackson does to use that platform carelessly to spread misinformation based on a racist allegation by Donald Trump, right? It was Donald Trump who tried to say Kamala Harris just turned black. So let's just go through the 101. Kamala Harris is the daughter of 2 immigrants. Her mother is South Asian from India. Her father is black from Jamaica. Here is a picture for all of you who need, or for Miss Jackson, if you're nasty, here's the damn picture.
I feel like a picture of Kamala also would have done. And have some grace.
Well, I do think you get to identify yourself, and being one of the multiracial people here at the table, I will say this. I would handle this the way Kamala Harris has, and that is to give it no air. I think Kamala is breaking barriers just by being in the room, regardless of whether Janet Jackson thinks she's black or white or Indian. The very fact that she is in the room deconstructs, in my view, the alleged societal norms that we've seen in the nearly 250 years of this country of what a presidential candidate looks like.
And so unfortunately, no, well, hold on. Yeah, she's got a phone. Janet Jackson is not a political animal.
Yeah.
She does. She's a musician. Her life is doing this, and she's mourning her brother. So
that's right.
I am. You know, I sometimes have said stuff, and you know, I was wrong. But people want you to say something right away, you know. But when people are coming at you, saying, "Hey, you're not paying, you're dumb, you don't know," you know, you don't want to answer people, especially if
you're afraid you'll get it wrong in answer.
And it is a pain in the butt, I have to tell you. So sometimes, sometimes people get it wrong, and they're wrong. They made a mistake. They were wrong. It happens. Anybody who says it doesn't happen to every one of us, multiracial or not, we all do it. So, okay, a little grace for the girl.
So you saw, I think Whoopi is getting tired of that smug Sonny Hostin. You heard how she got on multiracial and all. What are your thoughts? I want to get your thoughts on this, Tyrone, first.
I just think that The View is a disgusting and dangerous show. It's basically a glossed up version of a portion of the Ministry of Truth. That whole apparatus that wants to keep Americans divided, okay, distracted, dumbed down. None of these women has distinguished themselves in any field of endeavor, okay? They're just sitting around. They could have this conversation in their living room. That's what that is, okay? Look, Whoopi Goldberg, she calls herself a comedian. I've never known her to be funny. I've never heard her say one funny thing, okay? Even her stand-up. I remember my uncle had a stand-up tape of her, and he like invited the family over, and we were little, and we're like, and this is during the era of Eddie Murphy's Raw, and we're like, is this supposed to be funny? Right. You know? So they're just a part of that apparatus. And the scary part is they actually inform people. People wait with bated breath to hear what Sonny Hostin, Whoopi Goldberg, Anna Navarro, and whatever the other woman's name is. Wait to hear what they have to say. It's scary.
Yeah, it is very scary. And like you mentioned, not only are they propagandizing, but a lot of it is not true. First off, why would it be racist for Trump to question Kamala's ethnicity? Many Americans are questioning it because she's been flip-flopping on it from day one. You know, she's just recently came out and called herself Black. And, you know, most of the time she's referred to herself or identified herself as Indian. So again, I don't understand why what Trump did, how that was racist. That's number one. Number two, why are we still talking about this? I mean, goodness gracious, I think Americans are so tired of everything being racially, something being racial, everything being racialized. I mean, you can't even talk about simple things as this and not make it racial. And it's just annoying. And not only that, but Candace Owens had a very good show today where she actually dug into Kamala Harris's background. And there's a big question mark on whether her dad was Black. It appears he's actually Indian. He's mixed. He's mixed with Irish and Indian. Okay. So again, this kind of really it shouldn't matter, but because the Democrats and the left have always talked about the first Black president and or vice president, you know, and she's a woman, and they keep pushing Black. Now we have to, you know, talk about it, and we have to correct the record because actually a lot of it, she may be even lying. She may be lying about this as another racial grift.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, our people, Black people, are the only ethnicity you can pull this crap with. Yeah. Okay. You cannot come out and say, oh, I'm Asian, and the Asians might be, okay, great. You're Asian. So what are you going to do for me? Right. The gay community. Okay, you're gay. Great. What are you going to do? What tangibles are you going to bring over here? Same thing with the Jewish and the Hispanic community. We are the only ethnicity, the only voting bloc. And I'm happy to say that seems like it's starting to wane, but traditionally have been the only voting bloc that will just say, hey, we'll vote for you as long as your skin color is a certain shade. That's all we need. And Kamala, I hope she's coming in at the tail end of that. I hope she realizes the day after Election Day that did not work, you know. But I think it's very troubling the fact that we will support people that won't give any tangibles, that just say, oh, yeah, same color as I am, you know, stupid.
Right. And the fact that they feel that they have to cosplay or fake being Black tells you right there that I guess whether the polling or whatever, they realize that this kind of stuff is working for the Black community, to play on the Black community's emotions, you know, to push this whole racial connection here. I mean, it's really sad. It's really sad that Black people, you know, the community in general, fall for this every election. If somebody's dancing, if somebody, saying they're Black this, Black that, then I mean, I hate to use this reference, but they take off their panties and throw it at these politicians.
Yeah,
because
pretty much.
It's ridiculous. And I want to show this clip. I actually have it here of Candace Owens. I mean, say what you want about this woman, but the girl digs. She digs, and she actually laid it out about Kamala Harris's ethnicity. I mean, it may actually be something deeper here. She may have been lying about the whole thing. I want to take you guys to this. I have it here.
It's already been discussed. You can see in the corner that we have highlighted on her mother's name is an Indian name, Shailamala Gopalan, and under color or race of mother, her mother has put Caucasian.
So that's number one. The mom puts Caucasian as her ethnicity. So that tell you right there, but who cares? But
extremely controversial, but we don't need to focus on the mother, because the mother, everyone accepts the mother is not Black at all, right? So if she's some part Caucasian, majority Indian, everyone accepts that the mother is not the claim to her Black heritage. It is the father. On the bottom there, you can see that it says that her father's name is Donald Jasper Harris, and that the color or the race of the father is listed as Jamaican. Okay. So you can be Jamaican.
And we know that in Jamaica, just like in Trinidad, for example, they have Black Trinis and they have Indian Trinis. So, I mean, just because you're Jamaican, just because you're Trini, they even have Chinese Jamaicans. They have Chinese Trinis. So it doesn't matter. That doesn't necessarily mean you're Black. But let me go on here.
Can grow up in Jamaica and not be Black. Obviously, it's like Elon Musk, like he was born and raised in Africa. It would be absurd for Elon Musk to say that he was Black, because he is not Black. He is a white African. So I wanted to go further into Donald Jasper Harris, allegedly born in Jamaica in 1938. He has indicated that someone in his family is Black. So who are his parents? Okay. So this is Kamala's dad, Donald Harris. We're looking now into Kamala's grandparents.
That's her dad. That's her dad. So this is when it gets bizarre.
The grandparents' names are Beryl Christie Finnegan Harris and Oscar Joseph Brown Harris. So let's start with Beryl. Let's start with her grandmother. This is an alleged photo of Beryl Christie Harris, okay? It is the only one that exists in the public domain, and I want you guys to know that it was presented by Kamala herself. I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay, like where did this photo come from? Actually, Kamala is the one that entered this into the public domain in her book, which is entitled The Truths We Hold, which was published in 2019.
So Kamala put out that this is her grandmother. Now, here's where we go. Here we go.
So looking at this woman, she looks Black, and she wrote, visiting my paternal grandmother, Beryl, in Jamaica, okay? Now, when I saw this, I assumed it was a fake photo, and I assumed that somebody had put it up other than Kamala, because just doing a very brief search, and then I quadruple checked this across multiple websites, genealogy websites and genealogists, that can't be Kamala's grandmother. Let's pull up a picture of her again. That can't be Kamala's grandmother, because at least according to my research, Grandma Beryl died before Kamala was born.
Uh-oh.
And now I want the internet to fact check this with me. This is wild, okay? Beryl was born in 1921 and she died in 1960, okay? I've checked grave sites everywhere. This is it's not exactly a very common name and not an exactly very common place, specifically where she was born, St. Anne's Parish in Jamaica. That would mean that Beryl had Kamala's father when she was just 17 years old in 1938, and she died when she was just 39 years old. The Black woman in that photo is not 39 years old.
No.
So this is a major discrepancy, okay? And
unless she's a hard-looking 39, which
that would be a very hard 39.
Just a tiny bit of digging. I went, wait a second. Does anybody realize that Beryl allegedly died when she was 39 years old in 1960? That means that Kamala would have been born 4 years after her grandmother died in 1964. 1964 is when Kamala was born. Her grandmother died in 1960. So who is that woman that is in the photo with Kamala? Okay. Beryl Finnegan, now looking more into her grandmother, was definitively not Black. How do we know this? Because Beryl, that woman that you just saw, her father was Patrick Alhanasus Finnegan, who was an Irish slaver.
Irish. He was Irish. Here we go.
Okay. So that woman that you just saw, at a bare minimum, has to be half white. An Irish slaver is who her father was. Doesn't look like that. Maybe that Irish slaver married a super duper Black woman. I don't know, but I know that that is not a picture of Beryl. And I know that Beryl is at a minimum half white, okay? Because the father was an Irish slaver. Now, what about Kamala's grandfather? The other side of this, Oscar Joseph Brown Harris is his name. That's allegedly who Beryl married, right? Okay. What I've learned about him, this is the photo that they have produced of him. That's supposed to be her grandfather. Where I've learned about Oscar was that he was born in 1914. Brown was his mother's maiden name. His mother was a woman named Christiana Brown, who was known as Miss Chrissy.
Miss Chrissy.
Christiana Brown's father was also a white Irish slave trader named Colonel Hamilton Brown. That is the white Irish slave trader named Colonel Brown. He married an indentured servant, an Irish woman named Kate Williams, presumably Catherine Williams. And let me tell you how wealthy her family was. Colonel Hamilton established the town that they lived in. It was called Hamilton Town. It's now called Brown Town. And he owned, at a minimum, 1,120 slaves, according to records.
Ooh.
Okay. So they were a family of wealthy Irish slave traders. But now let's go back to that photo again. Who is this with Kamala Harris that is wrongly assumed to be her grandmother? Again.
So something in the buttermilk is not clean.
So her great-grandfather was Calvin Candy from Django, basically. Okay.
Candyland.
Right. Right. She's from Candyland. She's a descendant. Yeah, look, I wouldn't put it past them to craft this narrative. Okay, and in the previous campaign, it came out that she was descended from some slaveholders. Okay, now
yeah, that's fine.
Obviously, that's not her hair. She's not doing it, but it is really weird that you would come out here with all of this ambiguity and what you have in your background, and then try to run as if you're a sister girl.
Make that your claim to fame.
Right. That's her identity. Right.
Exactly. So more to come of this, because one thing I do know, first of all, the girl is bad. Candace is bad, y'all. Now, I mean, I hope her husband got a good prenup. I hope he don't mess up, because he is super sleuth when it comes to this stuff. All right.
Yeah. And it's just, can we be done with the identity politics?
I know.
Can you just get out there and talk about your platform? Well, she doesn't have a platform. She keeps talking about how Black people keep their lawns nice. And if I hear about this woman who owned a small business and was a friend of the family one more time, she never even said what the small business, what is it, Avon? What did she do? Okay, give us some more.
I don't know. But like you said, it didn't have to be this way.
Right.
But they always lead with race. They always push this. And generally, this is what happens. Something comes up. Same with Sunny Hostin. She's always playing the race card on The View.
Right.
And she was shocked to tears that her people, her ancestors, were slave owners.
Right.
So, I mean, this is what it is. We are all, eventually she's already not a foundational Black American. And I'm talking about Kamala Harris. We know that for a fact.
Right.
So, I mean, this whole idea, they again push reparations, they're pushing everything by race and things like that. It just doesn't make sense. And I'm tired of it. I really am tired. But Candace now is like a dog with a bone. She's on the scent.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for it because that woman is going to find something. So,
I feel sorry for Kamala for another reason. This again shows how far out of her depth she is, because this is indicative of her not taking control of her own campaign and saying, hey guys, look, I'm not leading with that because that's something that's easily disprovable. Let me just stand on my on my policies, and I am a woman. We can run with that if you want to do that, but she's just being ran. Okay.
Right.
She's being managed. She's not capable of getting in there and managing any of this herself.
Oh, of course not. She's a puppet. She's a puppet. They went from the bumbling, senile puppet to now just an idiot puppet. She is the dummy sitting on the lap, and they're just telling her, the ventriloquist dummy, what to say. And this is what they want now. The globalists want this. They found that they got a little bit of it, an itch of it when Biden was in office. They know now that they can control the presidency if they have someone like them who just reads teleprompters and is told where to go, who to go say. If they can do that, then this is how they want each presidency to go forward. And this is why they don't want Donald Trump in the White House.
Because that's what's happening right now. We don't have come on. Do you really think that Biden couldn't even remember Modi's name the other day? And he was standing right there with him. So we don't even have a president right now. So who's running the show,
Right. The puppeteers behind the scenes. Yeah, I do want to acknowledge our super chatters tonight. Thank you guys so much. We have Ren Budden. Says they keep saying that Trump questioned her race when he was really just questioning her recent racial identity. I agree, Ren. Thank you so much for your $4.99 super chat. Terry is actually part of our Freedom Seekers Club, guys. So definitely join our Freedom Seekers. You get members perks, you get emojis, you get behind the scenes videos and things that we don't send out to everyone else, non-members. Says, can we please slap the out of DL? I know. DL. Yes. And then we have Sear Tice with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Says she has lied about frivolous things as Tupac and weed. That's true. The freedom story she took from MLK, etc. It should be no surprise regarding her grandparents. You're right, Sierra. You're right. Tijuana Border Jumper, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Says, sorry, late, was watching Trump rally. I know he did have a rally. He is back in Pennsylvania, guys. I mean, goodness. He's been there several times, and I do know that's a battleground state, one he has to win. So, we are praying that, people in Pennsylvania see through the lies and the misinformation of the Harris campaign and vote Trump. Vote Trump. But I want to get back to DL Hughley because he did come out. He's a comedian, for you guys who don't know, who really came out against Janet Jackson for bringing up the racial identity of Kamala Harris. He came out with a tweet today and said, Janet Jackson's interview sounded like a Trump rally. FYI, it's a little ironic to question whether someone is Black while you're breathing through the nose of a white woman. This guy, I mean, he's not even funny.
He's not.
No, he's never been funny to me. But again, this is just par for the course. If anyone, doesn't go along with, if you're Black, specifically if you're Black, and you go against the Democrat Party, you go against their racial grift, they will come after you. But I really hope Janet Jackson continues to push back.
I do too. Yeah. And anybody who is, acting like DL and they're like uber supportive, Now that the government has those P. Diddy tapes, I'm starting to wonder, is it authentic? Or you have some leverage over some people? You know, who knows?
Yeah, who knows? I'm sure more is going to come out about this. So it's just a matter of not if, but when, really. So I want to move on here to the next topic, which is the right here in Maryland, actually. So here in an area called Frederick, Maryland, they have now, this is actually the largest city in the United States to do this. They are allowing non-citizens to vote in their elections. Guys, you need to know this no matter where you are in the US, because this is not just happening. It won't just happen here. They're pushing this. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. So I want to bring it to you again. We're right here in Maryland. So Frederick, Maryland, this is where this is occurring. In a 4-1 vote on Thursday, the Frederick Board of Aldermen approved a charter amendment which would allow non-U.S. citizens to vote in city elections. This change lets anyone who is 18 years of age and older can provide proof of residence in the city of Frederick and does not claim the right to vote in another jurisdiction to take part in elections. They're quoted to say, "I am very excited to support this measure tonight as another way in which we are welcoming all members of our community into our civic circle." Says Alderman Kelly Russell cast the lone no vote. She disagreed that giving something to one person does not diminish the work of another individual. She quoted as saying, "But I have talked to many people who work to get their citizenship in order to vote who do not agree to that, who feel that their efforts and all the hard work that they did is being diminished by this." Tyrone, is this the first step to borderless countries and global citizenry?
It's definitely a step toward just that. And I've been asking the question on the Soldiers of Finance channel over the past few weeks, what is the incentive to being a citizen anymore here in America? What's the incentive? Because we're seeing our tax money. You saw Vladimir Zelensky come over here, basically endorse Kamala Harris, badmouth Donald Trump. Okay. This is a guy who, you're not a citizen. Okay. You're a foreign leader. He's on our soil endorsing a presidential candidate. We see our money going over there to him. We see it going to people who are not citizens here in America. We see Venezuelan prison gangs taking over here, right? What is the incentive to being an American citizen seems to be dwindling, okay? Our representatives don't represent us by and large, and now we see that even at the local level. You should not be able to vote if you are not a citizen. That's simple, okay? I lived in France for a minute. I wasn't a citizen. I couldn't vote in their elections.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I don't know of any other area that does this. I really don't know of any other country that does this. But, you know, like you mentioned, they've been doing small initiatives, inching and inching to where they want to get rid of borders. They want to get rid of, the left wants to get rid of citizenship. They started out by trying to get away with nationalism, love of one's country, right. Patriotism. They started doing that. Then you saw how, the White House is flying all these other flags, the gay pride flag, all these other flags, lessening the significance of our national flag, our national pride. And now this, they're starting out with local elections. Next, it's going to be national elections. It's coming. It's coming.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's really kind of here. Okay. But they can't come out and say it. But like in Arizona, they just, and it'll go back and forth in the courts, but they just reversed a measure that prohibited votes that couldn't be verified as citizens. They put them back in the voter roll. So hopefully that will change before election day. But yeah, they are trying very hard to be able to let any and everybody vote. Nancy Pelosi's even talking about 16-year-olds voting. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, they were pushing
insane.
that in here in Baltimore too. The mayor here was saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Scott was pushing that. I mean, there any way they can water down the voting, and they can, because of course the younger the voter, the more influential you can be on them, and they would vote. They don't want informed voters. They do not want informed, intelligent voters. And this thing that they're doing with these illegals, now they're calling them newcomers. The whole language they're using is changing with that. Is catastrophic for our country. Over in Fairfax County, Virginia, which Northern Virginia to us, just about an hour away from here in Baltimore, they have the school system is shuttering because of how many illegal immigrants they have. The declining performance of students, this is reporting from the Federalist, particularly concentrated in 6 failing high schools, coincides with the rising number of non-English speakers in the district after the Board of Supervisors passed a sanctuary policy titled the Public Trust and Confidentiality Policy back in January of 2021. So by 2023, students classified as English language learners accounted for 26.5% of the district students. And the schools now are failing. They are failing because of the lack of social services, the lack of education materials and things for this influx of illegals.
Yeah, I've always, well, not always, but for many years, I've said that, look, you should have to own some property in order to vote. Now, somebody's going to come out and say that's racist. I really don't give a damn, because you should have a stake in the game. And look, it could be real estate, it could be a business, it could be $1,000 worth of S&P 500 stocks, okay? But you need to have some sort of stake in the game. You're 16 years old, your mama's still buying your underwear. There's no way in hell you should be helping to decide the executive of the state or the country, okay? So this is, like you said, they're watering down the vote as much as they can. And if you appeal to a younger voter base, then yeah, you're going to have the left in charge forever, because young people tend to have a more idealistic view of the world.
Yeah, exactly. I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here, guys. We certainly appreciate you. All right. Okay. So we have DJT Political Wars with the $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Certainly appreciate you. Mark Slater, he is part of our Freedom Seekers Club, and he is with the $10 super chat. He says, ICE. Yeah, ICE. Yes, indeed. We need them. Thank you so much, Mark. So thank you for that super chat. And I appreciate you guys' support. Really do. All right. So yeah, I mean, this is I don't understand how people would vote for them. I really don't. I don't understand how anybody would vote for these people, because we are seeing how these policies are detrimental to our society, and particularly Black communities. They're detrimental.
It's all emotion. And I was having a Facebook conversation with a friend of mine, grew up with, and I went to the market today, and I bought a roast, and it was $7.99 a pound. Okay. And I was just like, wow, that's pretty expensive, right? And so I put on Facebook, hey, look at how much beef is. This has got to be tough for a family of 4. So my friend, who is of a leftist bent, said, well, maybe people need to change their diets. I said, wow, you sound a lot like Joseph Stalin and Mao Zedong. You really, really do. But I think that he's not alone in that way of thinking. Okay, so it's nothing wrong with the policies that push inflation. It's something wrong with you. You should maybe buy soy burgers. You can't afford to eat beef anymore. This is that same type of ideal that we saw develop during the Cultural Revolution in China, during the rise of the Bolsheviks in Soviet Russia.
Yeah, and then that's a good point, because this is what they're trying to do. They've had initiatives. The left has had initiatives to try to get us to eat bugs. They don't want us eating meat. They do not want. They want people to stop that
because it's got protein in it, and protein is metabolized into testosterone.
Oh.
Okay, they don't want men. Okay, they like men like Kamala Harris's husband. Okay, little, soft spoken. Give you the wet little soft handshake. That's what they want. Okay, look at what they've turned. Remember, hip hop used to be a masculine genre. Now it's defined by 1,000 bottles of lotion, baby oil, okay, and whatever else they found in his freak off headquarters. All right, so this is all by design. They're not going to let a KRS-One get out there. Look at your movie stars, your action stars. There's no more Wesley Snipes or Sylvester Stallone. Okay, the last Batman looked like he weighed 120 pounds. Yeah. Okay, so this is all by design. It's all by design.
You're right. You're right. And they're trying to get women to play these action heroes, and people don't want to see that. I remember when the Charles Bronson and Rambo and these things, were really big and things. And now they got these women, and it's not even believable. It's not even believable. It really upsets me.
Not to belabor the point, but Predator, the original Predator, Arnold was afraid of the Predator. He ran, and then he was like, okay, it's a desperate situation. I got to fight or die. Okay. Right. Well, the latest Predator had a woman who was about 98 pounds. She went and she basically got in that Predator's face, and she said, I don't care if you're a 7-foot killing machine. And she beat him in hand-to-hand combat. And it was like, oh my God, what is this?
I know, it doesn't make sense. And let me tell you, because they say this, they're doing it partially because, of course, women go to movies and they, a lot of times they're watching TV and things like that. I don't want to see that.
Yeah, my wife says the same thing.
A woman act like a man. I don't want to see that. I love to see the men. I love James Bond as a man. I love Mission Impossible. I love all of Tom Cruise. I mean, I want to see a man do this type of stuff. I don't want to see a woman. I watched it. I didn't pay to watch it in the movies. I did see it at a friend's house. That movie with what was the lady? She was in the female African tribe. Viola Davis played the lead. That was pitiful. It was awful. It was so bad. It was so bad. I don't want to see this. But this is they're pushing. And we got to fight back against it. We really do. We have to fight back.
I fight back, but I'm not giving them a dime. I don't give them. Because they used to know how to write women, like Sigourney Weaver in Alien. She was feminine.
Right.
Okay. She even displayed her motherly instincts. They've forgotten how to write like that.
Yeah. And then they'll either, and even the movies that are still showing masculine leads, like John Wick, these still movies that you still see the masculine leading the role. They'll throw in some butch woman to be the sidekick. And it's just like, you can tell it was just to meet some type of, what do you call it? The thing that they're making these people do now.
DEI.
They just do it. Thing. Yeah, it doesn't even make sense to the role. It really doesn't. I do want to acknowledge our super chatters here, guys. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you. Kenzie with a $4.99 super chat says freak off headquarters, Tyrone Keys. All right. Terry, thank you so much with the $5 super chat, says really enjoy both of you. Thank you, Terry. Thank you so much. The Scrapping Beauty, hey, says Janet is beautiful American artist for music and love. She says that with her $5 super chat. I agree. I'm a huge Janet Jackson fan. Always have been. Ren, thanks again, Ren, says all of this for the $4.99 super chat, says all of this craziness with non-citizens voting in our elections is just more proof that we must keep faith and get right with God. I totally agree with you there, Ren, 100%. Justin, yes, Justin with the $10 super chat, and he's part of our Freedom Seekers, says, I'd give Kamala a super chat if she actually answered a question coherently. Goodness, the woman is just a poster child for DEI 2024. He wants to check all the boxes. KJ and Tyrone, my best to you. Thank you, Justin. Certainly appreciate you. And Chadwick with the $10 super chat says, that's why I hated Black Panther so much. What type of king has to say, I am king all the time, and at the end of the movie, all the women bow down to the men? Okay, yeah, I get you there. I did like Black Panther, though. I'm not gonna lie, I did like that. But I'm a Marvel fan, so but yeah, they're ruining movies for everybody, honestly. All right. So moving right along, we're talking about, again, this whole idea of these illegal immigrants and being able to vote in elections. That's what we were talking about. I wanted to, let me just see here one second. Okay, so this is happening here in Maryland, and we're going to continue to follow this story. Again, guys, it's coming to a town near you, so you heard it here first. You heard it here first on Poppin' Politics. I want to move on to California now. So we were talking about they're now allowing illegal immigrants to vote. Now we're talking about the crime. So take a look at this. This is clip number 1 with Gavin Newsom. So guys, he's talking about Proposition 36. Proposition 36, right. So I want to give you guys some background. With rising shoplifting rates and several high-profile smash and grab cases in recent years, grocery stores are among the California retail outlets that have taken to locking up everything. So if you, like me, you go into CVS, you go into Walmart, they have the deodorant and everything locked up. Toothpaste is locked up. It really makes no sense. But this has just started happening within the last several years. And it also has instituted other security measures and invested more in security guards, which leads to higher costs for customers. So basically, it all stemmed from Proposition 47. So in 2014, that was a ballot initiative that reclassified 6 felony drug and theft crimes under $950 as misdemeanors, which he and others believe, according to this story, emboldened criminals by removing the threat of real penalties. That is why Wardwell is backing Proposition 36. He is a grocer in that area. A new ballot initiative aimed at rolling back the worst parts of Proposition 47. So that video we showed you was Gavin Newsom slamming Proposition 36. Now, their argument is that this idea of locking these people up and making, increasing penalties for repeat drug and theft offenses will cause mass incarceration. What are your thoughts on this, Tyrone?
When I looked at this, I started thinking, and I looked at Gavin Newsom's top donors. Amazon is one of them. And I think that what's going on in California and in other states works to the advantage of Amazon, because it gets people to say, look, I'm frustrated by going over here and having to call somebody to help me, and it's not a good area anymore. The guys running past me with merchandise and not paying for it. And people get into the mindset of saying, I'll just order it from Amazon. Okay. So I think that's part of the reason why he showed some resistance toward stiffening penalties for retail theft in California. But I'm telling you, this thing is it's spreading out of control. Now, when I go to pick up odds and ends, I say, I'm going to go over here with these good Christian white folk where they shop. And that way I can actually get the deodorant. Won't have to ask for anybody to help me out. But I went to a Home Depot in a nice area, and I wanted to get like a trimmer for my hedges,
Mhm.
and it was behind bars. And this was in a, a better area, right? And so I asked the guy, I said, so this is big stuff. Are you telling me people are shoplifting? He said, man, you would not believe what people are walking out of here with. So the message to the criminal element is clear. Hey, look, nothing's really going to happen to you. You got a threshold you could steal up to, and nobody's going to do anything. So it's dangerous ground. On all fronts, it seems like our politicians are content with letting crime just get out of control.
You're right. And I never thought about what you said as far as the idea that they're trying to make the an environment where people don't go into brick and mortar stores anymore. And we saw the same thing during the pandemic, or scamdemic, as we like to say, where all of the major corporations, the major stores remained open, but
That's right.
small mom and pop stores, local stores were forced to close. And that's, so what you're saying, you brought up a very good point. And it's the globalists behind this. They're behind a lot of this stuff. They want us dependent on them. They want us to no more cash. Remember they say stop taking cash in a lot of these places, and some stores still, like local places around here in Baltimore, some of them still never went back to cash. You only use credit in these places. That's a globalist push, a globalist idea. People better wake up.
I honestly think that I'm an optimist, but in this, I think it's too late. I honestly think that there's at least 51% of the population that is just going to go along. Okay. They're not going to resist. Look at Australia. When they told Australia, now mind you, they never had a Second Amendment, but when they told them, hey, give up your guns, people got in their cars, put their guns in the trunk, and drove them and gave them to the government. Okay. So there's a large portion of the population that is just absolutely compliant. And it just doesn't look good from where I sit. I hate to say that.
Yeah. Kung Fu CJ says that stuff ain't happening in the dirty South, but it's coming. I mean, a lot of things that we're seeing here, you live in Baltimore, I live in Baltimore City. And so a lot of it wasn't seeing it in the counties. And so now you're starting to see more of this kind of stuff in the counties. And when I say counties, for maybe people who don't know, those are like the suburban areas are surrounding the city. And so a lot of people say, oh, it's not going to happen here. Then you start seeing this stuff happen there. Next thing you know, it's happening in the rural areas. So I've said this many times on this show, a lot of conservatives believe, they believe we can, concede the cities, let them have it, let them eat themselves, eat each other up, kill each other, whatever you want to call it. But where do you think they're going once these leftists take over the cities? They're going to the suburbs. Then where do they go? To the rural areas?
And they've got folk that are good, hardworking, tax-paying folk in these inner cities that are just like, I've had enough. They got to, they leave. But we all have a little Darius in our family somewhere. And a lot of times, little Darius wants to come to the cookout, and it starts to, metastasize out into, and look, that's in white culture as well. You've got, Uncle Phil, who might have gotten on meth a while back, and so that kind of thing metastasizes out into these better areas. That's why I tell my people, I gotta vet y'all before you come out here. I gotta do a background check every year before you come to the cookout.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but what's happening is a lot of times you have these people who say, you know what, I've had enough of the city of Baltimore, high taxes, high crime. I can't go out and enjoy the waterfront anymore because, of all this stuff going on. I'm moving to the county, and they move out there and they vote left.
Right.
And so then they're like roaches. And this really upsets because I've actually seen this. I know people who have done this. And then they go out to Florida. They go down to Texas. They leave leftist Maryland, and they vote for the leftists in these new areas.
Right. Right. They're like a virus.
Yeah.
They're like a virus.
Right.
And they don't see it.
Nope.
They don't even see it. I have a good friend who he knew that Maryland was going to just hit him up lovely on taxes and retirement. So he moved to Florida. And then he's talking to me. He's like, yeah, they're so conservative down there, and I'm going to get on this board. And I'm like, hold up. Didn't you just run away from that? What are you talking about? Where you going after Florida once you fuck that up? You know?
I know. This is what they do. I had the same situation with a neighbor who was living up here. She moved to Florida. She complained about the crime and all this type of stuff, moved down to Florida, and now she's trying to change she's talking about the abortion laws and they're too conservative and things like that. I'm thinking, go to New York, go to California.
Right, go to New York. Right.
If you hate it so much, if you hate the people so much, why are you moving down there?
Exactly.
Yeah. But this is what they do. This is what they do. They've done it in Texas now and North Carolina. I mean, North Carolina used to be red. Now they're having a hard time this election.
Yeah.
It's sad. It really is. All right. I do want to thank you guys for your super chats again. We have some additional super chats. All right. Judy with the $5 super chat says, what happened to charging the children for stealing candy? They won't learn if not taught consequences. I totally agree, Judy. Thank you so much for your super chat. Stephen with the $5 super chat says, can we have Chadwick watch the movie again? I think he got the ending wrong. Yeah, I thought so too. Stephen's talking about the Black Panther movie. I thought he was a little off on that. Oh, here he is again. Chadwick, thank you so much with the $10 super chat. He says, that's why I hated Black Panther so much. What type of king has to say, I am king all the time? And at the end, we've read this one already. Okay, yes. Thank you guys so much for the super chats, and please join our membership, our Freedom Seekers Club. You definitely want to do that, where you get an opportunity to get behind the scenes videos that we don't show to non-members. We also give perks like special emojis and all kinds of things with our membership club. And we certainly appreciate the support. Also, we do have merchandise. We have merch we sell, hats, sweatshirts, t-shirts. Go to our website and hit the shop button. Check that out. Certainly appreciate you guys supporting the conservative movement. We have something new coming your way as well. You know, you guys, we talk about this often, how, you know, sometimes it's getting to the point where we want to support people that honor our values. You know, as conservatives, we've always been like, you know what, it doesn't matter how people vote, you know, or what they think, you know, as long as they do right by me and they provide me good service, I'm going to shop at these different places. But what's happening now are these leftists, they're canceling us. They're calling us evil. They're calling us all types of names and demonizing us. I don't want to spend my dollars with a company that is going to look poorly upon me just because of who I vote for, because I'm a Trump supporter. So we got something coming for you guys who want to put your money and support behind a company that is that believes in your faith and values. So please stay tuned for that coming up in the next couple of weeks. All right. So moving right along to another local issue here in Baltimore that we always try to bring you guys, because a lot of times we are ground zero for leftist nonsense. And well, I don't know, Tyrone, you may agree with this. This is the Baltimore voters get to decide on reducing city council seats. So this has been a pretty hot issue here in Baltimore. It is, as we mentioned, another item that will be on the ballot in November, where voters get to decide whether or not they want to lessen the amount of council members in Baltimore City. Take a look. This is clip number 2.
Question on the ballot in Baltimore City this November focuses on City Council. Question H on the November ballot asks voters if they are in favor or not of downsizing the council from 14 seats to 8. And to no surprise, arguments over that ballot question, yes, certainly heating up tonight. Kelsey Kushner live outside of City Hall downtown. And Kelsey, members of the council say if passed, downsizing would hurt constituents.
Rick, that's right. Well, city council members say, the problem with question H is that if they were to slash the number of seats in city council, it's also going to slash representation across the city.
During a news conference Tuesday night led by City Councilman Ryan Dorsey, Dorsey called question H into question.
Question H asks very simply, is 14 too many people to represent the interests every day of nearly 600,000 people?
Question H, headed to the ballot this November, asks if voters are in favor of reducing the size of city council from 14 seats to just 8, a move that Dorsey says will only hurt Baltimore residents.
The work is endless and often challenging. And with all there is to be done in this old city, to keep it going, improving, and hopefully growing, the question of whether 14 people is too many is patently absurd.
The organization called Peace Baltimore is behind the ballot question. According to their website, the group says they hope to create a more transparent and accountable government and save millions of dollars for city taxpayers by eliminating excess council salaries and costs. But members of Baltimore for Democracy say it's bad for responsive government.
At its core, it's anti-democratic, right? It would have us believe that shrinking the size of city council would make things easier, right? But for who?
Members of Baltimore for Democracy took to the podium to urge voters to vote no, saying if the question passes, it would only mean less representation across the city.
With 6 less council members, that's 6 less chances of someone to know our needs.
Now, again, the people who are for question H say, that while the population has changed in Baltimore City, nothing has changed in city council when it comes to the number of representatives on the city council. And again, people will have the chance to vote on this on November 5th. Reporting live tonight, Kelsey Kushner for WJZ.
A lot at stake in November. Kelsey, thank you.
All right. So what are your thoughts on this, Tyrone?
First of all, Ryan Dorsey is a bum. He looks like he's on meth. Okay, this is a child. The first one to lose his job should be Ryan Dorsey. This guy literally, this is a grown man literally riding a bike around Baltimore City. This is not a bike-friendly city, okay? Buy a car, okay? Baltimore City has lost just over 1% of its population annually for the past decade. Might be even more, but at least the past decade. Look, when a state loses population, they lose congressional representation, right? That's just how it works. The city council is not a jobs program for bums like Ryan Dorsey, okay, who I think his occupational claim to fame is he worked at his uncle's record shop. Seriously, okay? This guy's never. This is what you find in local governments. Mm-hmm. You find a lot of people who are qualified only to win a popularity contest, rather. This is a city that has a multi-billion-dollar debt. Test scores in the school systems are abysmal. Okay, you can't get your snow shoveled in a timely fashion unless you live on the same street as the mayor. It's been like that forever. It's just you lose population, you lose representation. If they can somehow turn that around by improving schools, improving the situation with criminal activity, okay, and lessening crime, lowering property taxes, then maybe they will attract folk and then have a reason to keep the council at the number that it's at today.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we have become such a bureaucracy. Most of the money is going to paying all these council people, paying for all their people, their staff and things like that. And we're not seeing any better services. When you compare Baltimore City to the surrounding municipalities, they're larger and they have fewer council people and they have better services. You go to Baltimore County, I mean, it's not the best, but at least if it snows, they're getting that snow up. You're not driving in potholes, changing your tires every couple of months, behind this. This stuff going on in Baltimore needs to stop. They need to be held to account. This is what they need to do. And this is why they don't want to lessen it. You can clearly see it's because they want to keep their jobs. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Where is Ryan Dorsey going to work without the Baltimore City Council? I'll tell you where. Amazon's warehouse, not far from City Hall, so he could ride his bike, just a shorter distance to his new employee. The guy's wearing a hat indoors, looking like a total greaseball. Did he wash his face before he got behind that podium? I got a real problem with that guy. Do you remember when he got into it with the security guard at Lexington?
Yeah, he tried to fight the security guard.
He tried to get the guy fired.
Yeah.
Okay. He's a piece of work.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And we need a more efficient government. Improved education, public safety, lowering the cost of living for residents. I mean, I don't even see how this is actually even a question. But we do see people on the left in the city, progressives, are saying, of course, Baltimore City is a predominantly Black city, and they are saying that with less council people, then you would have a council that's not diverse. And so they believe that by lowering or lessening the council seats, then the council will not be as diverse. I don't see
how wrong about that. They're wrong about that, because what would happen is you would have Black districts morph into these white districts, and Baltimore's a predominantly Black city. Right. So what would end up happening is the white representation you have probably would disappear, and you'd have more Black councilmen in seats like the one Dorsey holds now. Okay. So they're just trying to keep their jobs. That's it. That's all they're trying. They're not concerned with representation.
No, they're not. No, they're not. It's about perpetuating inefficiencies that prevent the city from thriving. What we're doing now is not working. It's just not. And so, it's time to try something. Put some money back in the people's pockets. 1-2 less council people, maybe they'll, become more efficient. The council people aren't even supposed to be doing constituent services. That comes out of the mayor's office. Mm-hmm. It's about the mayor's office actually becoming more efficient with handling constituency concerns. That's it.
Right. Or you can call your state delegate. That when I was in college, that's what I did. I worked for our state delegate, one of them, and my job was constituent services. Just call and we'll get on it. That's what I used to do when I was a kid. But you don't need all these layers upon layers upon layers of government.
That's what they love. They love it. It's just more and more layers. But you know why? Because they're able to fraud. Fraud gets in much easily if you have all of these layers and layers of government, because then it's hard to determine where the flow of money goes, who's supposed to do what, because everything is like, pushed down the line amongst different organizations, different agencies, different bureaucrats. And so they just want some type of reason to pay these people. This is what it really is about. Yeah. All right. So I do want to, let me see here 1 second. Okay, I'm good there. Okay, I thought I had another super chat. Okay. All right. So we are getting close to the end of the time. I did want to just touch on this very quickly. I know we talked about the whole thing going on with Diddy a couple nights ago. And guys, check out our last live video with that, where we went into deep dive into what was going on in Hollywood with this new indictment of Sean Diddy Combs. But I wanted to bring you guys this clip of Justin Bieber. You know, you guys know Justin Bieber. He came into the celebrity game, a young boy. I think he was like 13. And just, you know, people are now, you know, saying that he's very likely he was a victim of you know, pedophilia. You know, he was such a young boy when he came into the celebrity light. Take a look at this. This is clip 6 of what he's had to endure.
Wow! I feel violated right now.
Who apparently wanted to know what a Bieber butt felt like.
Thank you. How old are you? I'm 16. I'll be 17 in like 2 weeks. Ever remember smelling that little when you were 16? That was bad. Wow, look at your eyes. What music do you listen to? Get that off.
Hey. Well, my parents never gave me the sex talk. Okay. So why don't you give me the sex talk? I teach you. I feel uncomfortable right now. Oh. Why do you want to know the sex talk from a 15-year-old boy? That's pretty weird.
You like French girl? Oh yeah. It's a really weird question. And you know, only the day my mom was right there.
Things on blast, you know.
You want to say it again? You have beautiful lips.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you, bro.
You have great lips.
Thank you.
Just wear condoms. Yeah, serious.
I want to protect her, you know. I don't want her to go through anything I went through.
What's wrong with these people?
Yeah, they're definitely, they're demonic. And you know, you got somebody like this young kid coming into this, hey, I've got some talent or whatever, I want to make a record or be in a movie or what have you. And you got real monsters, demonic monsters that are running Hollywood and are running the entertainment industry, running politics and sports as well. Okay. Yeah. You've got to be, you know, if you think about the child stars of like the 80s, okay, so Gary Coleman, the guy that played his brother on Different Strokes, a whole bunch of those kids are messed up. Some of them, like Gary Coleman, are no longer with us, right? If I were a parent, there is no way that I would allow my child to get involved in the entertainment industry. Yeah, it's demonic. They're preying on children. But this is also what we see when we see schools organizing drag queen story hour. What?
Right.
Why do you want to come and read books to children?
Right.
This is not right.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're trying to normalize it. You know, we have, and this is why this case with Diddy is so catastrophic, because it's gonna, I think it's gonna talk, you know, open up a lot of different areas like this, talking about how these children, these young teenagers, are handled within Hollywood, and not just Hollywood elite circles, you know, music, fashion, acting, all of it, like the schools, you know, all of it. These people, there are predators.
Yes, there are
all over the place. And now we know, you know, and they admit they use a lot of influence, a lot of drugs, a lot of just all kinds of things to just destroy these children.
Blackmail. You've got this Sean Combs, some of these people were like hip. They were like, oh, I'm not going to drink from an open container. So they worked around that and would inject the drinks. So it would appear that they never were open, but they would still have drugs in them. And people lose consciousness. They can't give consent. They don't know what happens. And a lot of lives have been, my wife and I were talking about Cassie Ventura, and I was just saying, I know that woman has to be very damaged emotionally, and people say, oh, well, she was young. We've all done dumb things when we were young, but when she's trying to run out of that hotel room, okay, and this monster, literal monster comes, beats the crap out of her and drags her back in. Okay. And that's just one we saw. Right.
And again, with that, I mean, it's one thing you're in a, abusive relationship. That's horrible, of course. But it sounds like this stuff in a lot of instances was something else. And like you mentioned, it was demonic. I have here, take a look at this just really quickly. We talked about this a couple of years ago when this occurred. I think it was 2 years ago. This whole Balenciaga thing. I don't know if you guys recall this, where the fashion house Balenciaga released these pictures of children holding stuffed animals in BDSM outfits, sparking a massive outrage. There was a whole cancellation of Balenciaga. Now they're back in fashion with a lot of these celebrities. Many of them had stopped wearing them just for a short time. Right. But I mean, this whole thing, I mean, these are weird pictures, of just strange. This was an ad. This was all part of an ad for children's clothing. And so you see the child here couldn't be any more than 5. I don't think she's 5, holding some BDSM bear, plush bear with a chain around its neck. I mean, a lot of just dark stuff. Again, here we have it here. This is the bear. Here, it's weird. It's so strange.
Let's call it what it is. This is not by coincidence. This is demonic. A lot of these people are literally selling their souls for fame and fortune. As Sean Combs is finding out, though, the bill can come due long before you die. Okay. So it's quite probable that he's going to spend the rest of his life in a prison, in a maximum security prison. Okay. And that's where he deserves to be, right along with Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, Danny Masterson, and others. Okay. But apparently being imprisoned is not sending a strong enough message, because people are continuing to engage in these acts.
Yeah. And so that's how it's something spiritual, something that they're getting out of this. And a lot of it has to do with children. And I'm not just talking about the abuse of children sexually, physically, also the abortion. We're seeing that being done on demand. And again, this is another part of this whole ad campaign here. Take a look here. This obsession with pornography. This is the Balenciaga thing again, where they're advertising this purse. So at first glance, it seems innocent, but when you zoom in to the documents, it's about child porn. So the document is actually the Supreme Court ruling Ashcroft v. Free Speech Coalition. This document, again, this is supposed to be something just random. They were showing off the bag, but they have it laying on these This is an ad campaign, people.
Oh yeah, that's by design.
Laying on these documents, and on the document, it wasn't just any old paper. It's specifically referencing a ruling, a case of an insane child abuse theme where this Ashcroft v. Free Speech Coalition reverses a significant portion of the Child Pornography Prevention Act of 1996. So, I mean, why would they do that?
Right.
You know, it's just, again, you know, this book here in the same ad, they have this Michael Borman's book. And again, you're thinking nobody's going to zoom in and look at this book. Well, if you actually read the book, it's a book about children eating each other. So it's just, this is what's in that book. Naked children covered in blood and limbs on the floor. It's just strange.
It's strange and very sick.
Sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sick. Yeah. So, but again, the crazy part about the whole unnerving thing about this to me is they subliminally throw it in.
Conditioning.
Right.
Absolutely. They want to condition society to believe that this is normal. Okay. And when you have children, you know, you want them to live that innocence because you know, and I know, and most people should know, hey, you got 10 to 12 years of innocence. And then the next 70 is real in the field. You know what I mean? So go ahead, let them be innocent. They will encounter all of this stuff just like you did, just like I did, you know, just like all of humanity did. It doesn't have to be pushed on them. Okay. I just don't understand.
But they have to. It has to if they have an agenda.
Well,
the left has an agenda to influence and push their sexuality, their perversion, all of this. And so I think what they realized or found was the advent of social media is these children, of course, are so impressionable. So if they get them at this young age, they can what? Destroy the family, destroy gender, destroy what mother is, what father is, all of it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People have got to get really serious, and you got to start vetting what you watch. If you watch TV, my wife and I watch very little TV, but we vet everything we watch. If there is some horror movie that we're watching and they start chanting or speaking in a different language, off it goes. Okay. I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what they're bringing into this house. You know, we watch, we are very careful about what we consume. Okay. And put up here because I don't want to be conditioned to this new normal. Okay. We were pariahs in our neighborhood when the whole 2020 thing happened. And we didn't give a damn, and we still don't. Okay. So you've got to be willing to stand apart. You've got to be willing to stand apart, especially where this society is headed.
Yeah, you're right. Well, that's what we do here. Again, this Poppin' Politics. This is Tyrone Keys from Soldiers of Finance. We definitely stand apart. We try to get the truth out to you guys, make you aware and prepare you make you aware of what's going on so that you can prepare for what is to come. That's our mantra for 2024. Be aware and prepare. So certainly share this broadcast, like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting for? Definitely do that. But most importantly, definitely share this. We want to grow our community of truth seekers, of America loving people that understand we're living in urgent times. There's a target on our backs because we value freedom, but we must continue to stand. So that's why when you guys, subscribe and you share this broadcast, the comments, you hit those likes, it does help to amplify our voice and somehow push past this mainstream media lies and nonsense. So thank you so much. We're almost at 100,000 subscribers. Can you believe that both of our channels have grown, and we should be hitting that sometime by this week, guys. We're going to be so excited. It's been a ride, and you guys have been with us from day one. We appreciate you. We're growing. Yes, we are growing, almost 100,000 subs. So keep sharing and keep subscribing. Tyrone, any final thoughts before we go tonight?
Well, I encourage people to check out Soldiers of Finance. We are, what I like to say, we're the little brother channel to Poppin' Politics. Check us out. We're doing some stuff on tomorrow. We're bringing up a New York City official who held his own freak-offs while telling you that you had to stay at home and lose your job.
Wow. Okay. All right. And is there a certain time you want people to tune in?
We release a video at 8:45 a.m. Monday through Friday.
All right. All right, guys. Well, we will be back. Poppin' Politics will be back on Wednesday. We will be live in the studio with the ladies on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So look out for the broadcast then. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.